Yeah, I shouldn't show. I just got to finish this note real quick. I sent you something with your phone. Can you open it, please? Yo, you know what? Better yet, can you email this to yourself? Yeah, I would think about that.
I.S.U.P.K. Oh, and West. Babylon is falling to rise no more again. Babylon is falling. Freedom is here, my friend, not just part of the mission. Yeah, our shine never come bring peace, him start of the vision. Now put your trust in the riches and wealth, guns are ammunition. I just the last statutes and commandments. We make the decision to keep them with precision. I just part of the nation. Daniel get a vision. Him see the black Christ, it wasn't a white depiction. No allegiance to Rome nor its regions. Come out them religion if you want be a free man. Cause the deacons them full of demons. Same situation with Rasta with Islam. Only beacon of hope for your lean and I.S.U.P.K and the General YAHANNA. Every fowl of the ear, every beast of the field, every creeping thing we creep on land. Every mouth of the clear, loud and clear. YAHANNA Mashiach is a black man who have fear. Let him hear. Time to prepare. Spiritually separate from Babylon. We no weak, we no fear. We no tear. Bun Saddam, my bun Batman are just part of the nation. YAHANNA never come bring peace in start of the vision. No put your trust in our riches and wealth comes our nation. I just the last statutes and commandments. We make the decision to keep them with precision. Just part of the nation. Send evils and curses on the horse sitting on the beast and all churches. America fall, them deserve it. Rome get defeat, history repeat, I know the first days. Hey, 400 years them work with, then desert with, then turn round and call we worthless. But now the COVID lurking, them hurting, and then the doctors and nurses. Hey, one day to your building of return after the long journey. No care much money you a earn if you still want Babylon burn. One day to your building of return after the long journey. No care much money you a earn. Hey, I just part of the mission. YAHANNA never come bring peace in start of the vision. No put your trust in our riches and wealth guns are nation. I just the last statutes and commandments. We make the decision to keep them with precision. I just part of the mission.
What's good now? I'm about to get a joke.
Nigga in the shredder, but however, I could never take a step back for my pleasure. Change the weather, Ruger 5.7 on my dresser, clip full with a lot of pressure. I forget that I made a special. I don't care, so I don't remember hitting treasures in my lecture. New texture, but the same message. Think rich, no think better. Chevy boy, I don't need a Porsche. Bucket clean and I feed the horse. Pull up on me, lose a bitch, ain't nothing to me. Ben Simmons, they ain't fucking with me. Take sides, you was set hopping. Heat on, you was flip flopping. On the come up, then he start watching. We open doors like fuck knocking. Yeah, she see it and then don't believe it. Spit fire in my heart anemic. Make a choice, get in the van. Taking ground and become a man. You pussy, I'm straightforward. Take orders, give orders. Bend corners, set borders. Niggas fold like rich quarter. Lifelong, but my temp shorter. Only for the bullshit though. Counterfeit niggas, they be full of it though. I don't really hear what you went to, nigga. We don't really care what you been through, nigga. I offend you, nigga. Sharp like a quick left turn in the venue, nigga. Cut right through it like a Jinsu, nigga. If I say that I mean it, and know I'm the meanest and one of the cleanest. I put it together and break it in pieces. I got plenty of time, I got plenty of ideas, you wouldn't believe it. I roll with the lions, you run with hyenas. I'm David inside of a killing arena. For all of my people, I'm giving you all of the smoke. Stop saying the stuff that you won't really wanna live up to. Live by a code, yeah, we stand up too. Say you get money, put bread up too. Saying you
Hey, Shalom Yahweh Hashem Yashar Barakatah to all the brothers, Yahweh Shemal Thamba Hashem Yashai to all the sisters, and Priest and Officer 1000 Zabaja of the I.S.U.P.K under Commander General YAHANNA. Started out 1 West. We got it. Started out 1 West since 125th Street. Since 1969, we've taught that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the Israelites, right? We got definitely a good class. This is going to hit home for Canada, especially because Canada, unlike America, right, a lot of Blacks in Canada outside of the West, we didn't do our slavery here, but although Canada did have Black people in slavery, a lot of us come from the Caribbean islands, right? We come from the Caribbean islands and we bring our family up where we struggle to pay bills and struggle day in, day and night, work 3 jobs, go crazy, get gray hair by 32, right? To bring our family up, just for the Canadian government to tell us we can't bring our family up unless we have a home. And you know how oppressive Canada is when it comes to its finances for Black, Hispanic, and Native American people, right? Especially Native Americans. Have you seen what they've been doing to Native Americans? Just go down on Queen Street, go anywhere in the downtown core, and you'll notice that Native Americans live on the streets, right? While Black people, specifically Jamaicans, right? Jamaicans, a lot of times they come up to Canada to farm, right? Canada makes it extremely hard for Caribbean men to come into Canada, Caribbean women to come into Canada, for us to send for our children back home once we make it in Canada, so we can go work on the farms. This is all done by design. Everyone might think that Canada is a nice place, a wonderful utopia, right? When this is more of a dystopia, a disorganized place, a dishonest place, a place where, okay, so I'm gonna break it down like this, right? There's racism where a oppressor will come up and straight tell you you are a nigger, right? He'll straight up tell you that to your face. I like that racism. Now that sounds strange, right? But that's my favorite kind of racism because I know what's in my face, right? Compared to the racism where someone smiles in your face, but they're secretly trying to keep you in place, or they just don't like you. They don't want you to see the benefits of today's kingdom, right? They don't want you to succeed in this kingdom. So they'll smile in your face, but stab you in the back while they embrace you for a hug. Sure you want?
Yes, so I get on for a minute. I remember.
You might have to speak just a little louder because you're back there.
I remember this one job I was working, and this oppressor,
right,
Caucasian man,
right,
used to complain every day about how this Indian man stinks.
Right.
Why are they always covering their head?
Right.
They don't conform to the ways of Canadians.
Right.
Every single day talking shit about this Indian guy.
Right.
And I remember thinking, like, if this is how he's talking about him, the Lord knows how he's talking about me.
And he probably smiled with him in the break room.
And smiled at this man's face.
Yeah. Hey, Raj, how you doing? Good morning, Raj. How was your weekend? What'd you do? Right? Exactly. Oh, man, this Raj guy, he smells pretty bad. And it's like, listen, that's Raj's culture. Let Raj do what Raj does. Like, I don't keep my comments to myself, but let Raj do what he does, man. That's his culture. We have our culture. Oppressors have their culture. And oppressors' culture is oppressing us, right? Just look at, okay, we could, over the last couple of years, they dug up 10,000 Native children out of the grounds. The Native children didn't put themselves in the ground, right? The Native parents didn't put their children in the ground. Someone kidnapped those kids, abused them to the point of death, right? And then tried to hide it. A pirate puts things in the ground because he's trying to hide it, right? If you bury something, it's because you're trying to hide it. If they weren't burying these Native children to give them a resting place, right? Like you do for a loved one. You do for a loved one, you would either go buy a mausoleum, right? Buy some property, like what Isaac did for Abraham, right? What Isaac did for Abraham, what Jacob did for Isaac, right? When they took Isaac's bones and brought him, no, they took Jacob's bones, brought it into Egypt, right? So I misspoke. They took Isaac's bones and brought it into Egypt because Jacob went into Egypt with his sons, right? So an oppressor, he's in Canada, especially in Canada, it's an extremely oppressive place. Hey, Shalom, Baraki Allah, Yah, Washim Yashar, Barakafah. What's going on? Right, Baraki Allah, y'all could tune in if you might be still slaving right now, but if you get an opportunity, you might want to jump in this class, right? Well, we'll be definitely talking about this during our podcast on Sunday. We'll be back. We had an excellent camp on the weekends. They tried to tell us, well, they told us, like, listen, they don't want us to have a microphone. They don't like what we say. Like, brother, you might not understand this. We go on the streets on the weekends and we go try to wake up Black, brown, and Native Americans, right? We speak on the crimes of the oppressor and what's happened to us in Canada. Oppressors do not like mirrors. They're like vampires. They don't want to see themselves in the mirror. They don't want to hear what we have to say, right? One Caucasian lady told, when I asked her, what's the common denominator between all the oppression in the earth and why there's a bunch of people just messed up in the earth? She said it's Caucasian. She said straight up Caucasian people is the number one reason why the earth is messed up.
I just think in Canada they've never had to face this type of challenge. I don't think so.
No.
States, but never
No.
So
You're definitely right. And Canada also has an issue with free speech, right? If you go out and start speaking your mind and it's something that's going to benefit your people, they don't want you to say it because they don't. Okay, I've always said it like this. Everybody can't be rich. Yeah, you got it. Everybody can't be rich. They need someone to work at McDonald's, right? But I'm going to get into this topic. First, I have a video that we're going to play. Bear with me one moment while I get this video ready, right? So again, this is a video of what's going on these Canadian farms, right? Have you ever wondered why your apples are so cheap? Why bananas are so cheap? Why the things that are grown in Canada are damn near pennies on the dollar to get in your supermarkets? That's because they have black men picking them, right? Straight up and down. There's no way around it, right? I'll say it again. They have black men in these farms because Caucasians don't want to do the work, right? You're not going to see too many Caucasians, too many Asians, too many East Indians, or other migrants who come into Canada go and do the farming work, right? Because they've done that back home, right? And also they have family members that could set them up to work in the stores in your neighborhood, right? All that fried chicken that's being sold on Eglinton out those Chinese shops, right? You got to ask yourself, where's that money go? It goes to helping the Asians, which they should do. If you're Asian, you have a shop, right? You're making some money. You want to help your family. You want to make sure your family gets a job. Do it because that's what you're supposed to do, right? One day we'll learn that. One day we'll understand that we're supposed to help each other, right? Listen, they said the American dollar is about to fall. Good night. Listen, we've prayed for these days, right? And when this dollar falls, what are you going to do in Canada? Because the American dollar directly affects the Canadian dollar. Canada is like America light. Canada is America super light. Whatever happens to America is going to affect us. Right, so I got a video. If you got any questions on the topic or what we're talking about, you could always ask your questions. This is a free space to ask any questions. If we don't have the answer at the moment, we'll tell you. I'll straight up tell you I don't have the answer right now. I'll get back to you either next class or during our scripture breakdown. We have classes all throughout the week, but we have another scripture breakdown class where basically the point is just come in and ask all questions, right? And there's okay, a lot of times you go into different places and you ask a question and everyone will look at you like you're stupid. Like, did he really ask that? There's no stupid questions, right? Every question deserves an answer.
I just thought that was very possible. Very powerful, the last statement.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so I'm gonna play this video. Y'all might not hear it depending on if you're back there, but I'm gonna play this video, right? This video is a video of Jamaican men arguing with a Caucasian farm owner in Southern Ontario about the working conditions.
This is the wrong way to be doing this, okay? It puts me in a bad spot and tell me I know exactly every single person in this goddamn room, okay? This is not the way you do things. I know. This is ridiculous. We've been sitting all spring, and now it's time to go, and this is the way I'm treated. That's, you know what, guys? That's no problem. That is no problem. You guys use that word a lot in Jamaica. That's no problem. This is no problem.
Good night.
Have this fixed. If you choose not to work,
I had to stop it for a second. I'm gonna pull this all the way back so you can hear it one more time. Right? These oppressors, they just don't care. Like, they'll just say anything. Like, listen, I wonder if he understands how hard it is in Jamaica and why we say no problem. Because it's a mother effing problem. Like, it is such a problem that the only thing you could do during the hard times is try to laugh, try to dance and say, listen, it's Irie, everything's blessed. There's no problem. Even though there's no water in your crib right now. Like, there's no running water. You have to wait a couple hours for the running water. The power just might have knocked out. I went to bury my mom not too long ago, and this is the first time, I've been in Canada living the good life, right? Listen, I'm on my phone. My phone's about to die. And I'm like, yo, I gotta go charge it. So I'm about to go charge it, and I'm charging it. My phone dies, the power goes out. We're in the dark for 3 hours. I did not know what to do. Right? It's a problem. This oppressor said it's no problem because these brothers they went on strike for a day. Right? They went on strike for a day. We're gonna get into the article. They went on strike for a day because the water is overflowing, the working conditions is hard, right? So they went on strike, and this oppressor, he just wasn't having it, right? But when farmers, Shariwan, can you find me that article? There should be an article about Ontario farmers going on strike and complaining and protesting, right? It might have been like they might have been driving tractors down the highway or something, but they were protesting the conditions of I'm not exactly sure how to say it, but they were protesting what they didn't like about the Canadian government and how the Canadian government is treating the farmers. Let's see how this farmer is treating Jamaicans.
This is the wrong way to be doing this, okay? It puts me in a bad spot and tell me I know exactly every single person in this goddamn room, okay? This is not the way you do things. I know. This is ridiculous. We've been sitting all spring, and now it's time to go, and this is the way I'm treated. That's, you know what, guys? That's no problem. That is no problem. You guys use that word a lot in Jamaica. That's no problem. This is no problem. Don't worry. We're going to have this fixed. If you choose not to work today, that will be a problem, okay? Everybody was scheduled to go to work today. I have a schedule day in and day out for you, man. Some days you're working, some days you're not. You don't pick and choose the days you want to work. That's not the way this works.
Wait, Shariwan, we're both in the trades, right? If we don't like the condition of a work site, do we have to work? I thought women said that we have the right to refuse work, right? And this man said if they don't work, it's going to be a problem. First, he said it's no problem. It's not a problem. That's what you guys say in Jamaica, right? Well, if you don't work, it's going to be a problem. I'm going to keep playing this.
Does anybody have a problem with my scheduling? Does anybody have a problem with my scheduling?
We're not on the problem with the Beareth.
No, I'm asking about my scheduling. I'm asking, do you have a problem with my scheduling? It's a simple question.
What?
My scheduling. The days I have men scheduled to work and the days I have men to be off. Do you have a problem with the way I schedule?
So I had to stop it one more time. Sometimes I do that during the class. The issue is not the scheduling. It's not the scheduling. Listen, Caribbean men, we work hard. It's a myth that Black people don't work. Really? Listen, we work 3-4 jobs to feed our families, right? I see my stepdad work a whole 9 to 5.
Work the hardest, brother.
Right. Fix a car. He came home from the 9 to 5, fixed a car, right? And then went back out to do another job and another job. Like,
and in some places we start at 7 years old.
Right.
I'm not saying it's necessarily my experience, but yeah, 7 years old.
In the scriptures, it says Benjamin is raven as a wolf. If you notice, if you look at how a wolf pack works, right? A wolf pack works where they're just always working. They're always trying to take care of their young. They're always together. A wolf doesn't stop working, right? Jamaicans don't stop working, right? That's it. And it's not even just Jamaicans. You have Bajans. You have, listen, Rihanna made a song called Work, 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 right? It was really about like what a man and woman do in the bedroom. But you could damn near say that's what we do on our 9 to 5. Work, 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 work. I used to listen to that song all day at work. Like, yeah, this is it, because that's what I'm doing. Work, 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 work. Right? I used to remix. Yeah, slave, 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 slave. Shit. Slovakia. I'm gonna keep playing. There's a couple more seconds. But he's asking them if it's a problem about the schedule. It's not about the schedule.
Yeah, you know what? I have a big problem with it too, because this is my building. This is private property. I'll tell you something. No. Let's talk about that for a second. This is my building. This is my farm. Okay? I don't like seeing my building.
It's his farm on native land. I just had to correct the man for a second. It's his farm on native land, right? The natives were murdered and slaughtered, destroyed, right? And brother, you said you're Haitian, right? The Haiti's gone through some of the worst, horrible, most disgusting oppression right? Like in the Western Hemisphere, we just watched the Haitian president get assassinated, right? Now I don't know nothing about. Yeah, he was butchered. Yeah. Who knows what else they did to him before they butchered him, right? But listen, we watched that not too long ago. Haiti's still going through it, right? Just like majority of the Caribbean islands. All right, this is almost over. Last 5 seconds, and we're going to read this article.
Being treated the way they get treated. No, that's right. Exactly. This is what we got.
Jamaican migrant workers were sent back to the Caribbean from an Ontario farm after holding a...
All right, give me a moment. Oh, we're gonna get into it. You can't protest if you're a Jamaican migrant worker, right? Did you find that article on the farmers protesting?
I have the article from Toronto Sun.
Okay, what's it? You want to read it for a second?
This is an article from Toronto Sun. It says, "Here's why we might soon see more farmer protests."
Wait, farmer what?
Farmer protests.
So the farmers were doing what, Shariwan?
Protest.
Farmers were protesting, right? This is something that was happening. It was happening very recently, within like the last 5 years, right? Which is very recent, if you think about it. Farmers have a right to protest, right? If you're a human being, if you have life, you could protest a situation that you don't like. You don't have to go to work in a condition that you don't like, right? This person was mad at migrants, at our brothers and sisters. I'm not even going to say migrants anymore. He was mad at our brothers and sisters for protesting the work condition. So I'm going to read this article. Jamaican workers were sent back to the Caribbean from a farm in Ontario earlier this month after holding a one-day strike. These brothers didn't even strike for 2 days. It was 1 day.
Metro, Metro, they always strike. It's been 3 months.
Right. The Metro's striking, the teachers are striking, the nurses are striking, the laborers are striking. It's Labor Day coming up soon. It's Labor Day coming up soon, right? And we know the history, so we're gonna have to do a breakdown on Labor Day because that's coming up, what, September 4th, somewhere around there, right? We're gonna have to do a breakdown on Labor Day, and shoot, I might have to air an old tape. Listen, I'm gonna air an old tape when we're talking about the porters, right? Because Canada has a history of black porters. These were brothers who worked in the train cars, right? They served food. They made sure you had your drinks, your newspapers, got you to where you needed to go, got your bags to where they needed to go, and they damn near had to live on these trains, right? And that was the only job we could get as black men in Canada. And Canada is supposed to be the place that stopped slavery first. That's their call to fame. We stopped slavery first in the West. Good night.
Go on. I think the last residential school closed just in Bradford.
95 around there?
90, I was like 10 years old.
Yeah, around 95, somewhere around there. It's like not too long ago. Right? So I'm going to keep reading this article. One-day strike in protest of their workplace conditions. Shariwan, what were farmers protesting?
Nitrogen emissions.
So farmers were protesting a tax.
Too much nitrogen emissions.
Wow, but that's serious though.
Can you read it?
It says, these reports describe this activism as a show of support for Dutch farmers. But from my understanding, this wasn't even happening in Canada.
So they're protesting something that has nothing to do in Canada. Good night.
The Netherlands, Dutch farmers, something going on in other countries.
It makes it even more significant to a certain extent.
Right. Right. So they were protesting something that has nothing to do with Canadians, right? But people who come to make sure Canadians have food on their shelves aren't allowed to protest, right? And there's some type of that's hypocrisy, right? It's straight cut down the middle. That is hypocrisy. It's cut and dry, straight up and down, like my Captain Katas, I would say. Shariwan?
I have a sentence here that talks about what's going on.
Okay.
So it says tensions have run high in the Netherlands as farmers have used equipment to block roads and supermarkets in response to climate change. Regulations targeting livestock emissions.
Right. So they're protesting a tax on what they do, right? It's just like the carbon tax that we have to pay here. Remember, they have a, okay, so billionaires hop in jets, fly around the earth, and talk about carbon emissions. As they hop in their jets and fly around the earth, dumping carbon. This is why I never understood Al Gore. I knew this from before I was even in the truth. Al Gore is a hypocrite. He's jumping in a jet to fly around the earth talking about the emissions in the earth, right? Elon Musk is a hypocrite. He's saying, I need to go green. To build a electrical car, it destroys acres of land, right? Because you got to get all those elements out of the earth. And then he takes the money that he tricked everybody into investing in his electrical cars and buying his electrical cars, right? And builds a rocket to fly into the space, dumping emissions into the earth. Like, what's going on? Let's go green. Let's go green. We're gonna dump more smog into the earth. Listen, it's all hypocrisy. Right. So I'm gonna keep reading. After holding a one-day strike in protest of their workplace conditions, prompting the Canadian government to review the circumstances of their departure. The workers arrived in Canada in the spring and were initially scheduled to remain at a produce farm in southwestern Ontario until the fall, but were sent home August 8th, at least 2 months ahead of schedule. The mistreatment or abuse of temporary foreign workers is unacceptable and will not be tolerated, government spokesperson Samuel Carboniel. I butchered that last name. Listen, told CTV News, Toronto Monday. Jamaica's Labor Minister Pernell Charles, listen, that is a Jamaican name. Pernell, Leroy, Delroy. You gotta love the Benjamites, man. Our names are just good night. Pernell Charles said he met 4 of the 5 farmers on Friday who were sent home to understand the circumstances of their early pre-patrician. I butchered. I have to learn that word. See, I learned a new word right now. I'm gonna write that down right quick. Right. The minister is conducting an ongoing investigation and said in a news release last week there were challenges with the crop at the farm in question, which can be a common reason to terminate contracts prematurely. Video shared to TikTok back in June. Listen, the internet is undefeated. You'll never, there's things that just you can't beat. You can't beat the God of Israel, right? And you cannot beat the internet. Right. With the internet, the stories that we've heard throughout our childhood for years, we get to see on the internet. We've said for years, Black people get mistreated. We're the last hired, first fired. Right. And now we're seeing it on the internet.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What should Black people do? What should be our response? Sort of
in layman's terms, the only thing we could do is turn to each other. That's the layman's terms of what's going on. We got to turn to each other and turn back to our power, right? During slavery, we lost our history, our heritage, so we don't know we're Israelites. Listen, if Black people say we're Christians, they say we're Black. This binder is Black. I'm gonna tell you I'm Black, right? Really, my skin color is brown, right? But we say we're Black. We say we're people of color. In Canada, they wanted to call us African Canadians. They've been saying that. Afro this. Afro is a hairstyle, right? My Afro is pretty big when I pull my braids out, but is my nationality Afro? My nationality is a hairstyle. So the only thing we can really do is turn to our power and turn to ourselves and love each other, right? Really, Black people aren't even supposed to be working for oppressors. We should be working for ourselves. Right. But we can't do that when we don't have an economy. Right. We're supposed to have a shop where, okay, I'll give you an example. There's brothers coming home from jail right now They came home today. They need a job tomorrow. What job are they going to get? These brothers want to change their life. There's a brother who came home last night. He wants to change his life. He doesn't want to go back to jail. What job does he go and get? Right? He can go get a factory job, break his back, and get nothing in a city where rent costs $10,000 a month.
He might even have a hard time getting McDonald's.
McDonald's job, you're not getting a McDonald's job for sure. They want you to be college educated in McDonald's now, right? Because that burger, you need a master's degree to learn how to put the mac sauce and the pickles the right way, and it got to be the square root of onion, right? So he's not getting that job. What he's going to do is he's going to go get what's easier than a job. And okay, were you born in the city of Toronto?
I'm born in Haiti.
How long have you lived here?
Oh, no, I've been here for I was in the States, kind of like
well, it's the same thing in the States. What's the easiest thing for okay, kind. What's the easiest thing for a black man to get in Canada or the States over a job?
That crime money or that fast money.
Yeah, a gun. He can go get a gun, right? Listen, a black man right now could go down anywhere in the city of Toronto if he knows the right people to get a gun faster than he gets a job. He can get some fentanyl. He can get some crack cocaine before he gets a job, right? And unfortunately, that happens a lot where brothers try to change and they're not able to change, right? Because they're not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. It's just pitch black, and someone pops up with a shiny chrome nickel-plated 9, and they see a little light, and they're like, oh, look, I got a little light now. I can maneuver through the tunnel, right? But that would answer your question of what we need to do. I have some precepts that we're going to go through in a moment after we get through the article, and it'll give you a more in-depth answer as to what we're going to do and what's going to happen for black people, for Hispanics, for Native Americans who seem to face oppression everywhere we go.
You'll have to excuse me, maybe about 25 minutes. I must leave, but
okay, that's no problem.
As much as I can, and I'm gonna see if I can make this definitely ready.
That's no problem. We got your contact information. We'll send you the
online as well. Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the link for the class so you can watch it after, right? Because we got a bunch of tapes. There's a bunch of things you could watch that we do, right? That you could always take notes. Like for us, like, well, okay, we'll be in a class right now setting. Sometimes I'm not teaching. There's a man above me, Officer Bond. He's really in charge of Canada, right? He'll be teaching class. I'll take what notes I can. Halfway through the class, sometimes I stop taking notes, right? Go back the next day and watch the class like 3-4 times and get all my notes and, okay, this is a thought, I'm writing everything down, right? But for time's sake, I'm going to try and get back into this article so we can get into some of this stuff for you. Where were we? Conditions that the workers were living in and prompted the Jamaican government to begin its investigation, which remains ongoing. In one of the videos obtained by CTV News Toronto, a row of toilets with shower curtains acting as a door are flooded to the brim, overflowing into the kitchen area of the bunkhouse. Who the hell is going to work like that? Listen, most people have a bowel movement before they go to work because you've been fasting all night for 8 to 10 hours. You probably ate it. Listen, you've been working on a farm or you do any type of labor work. If that thing runs into the nighttime, you're just going to eat and go to bed. Sometimes brothers might not even get to shower, right? I know these Jamaican men are showering. Jamaicans, we shower 30 times a day on a regular. If you're black and Caribbean, you shower 30 times a day, right? It's hot outside. Listen, I got to go home and take a shower. Right? I just stepped outside. I started to sweat. I gotta go take a shower. We're going out. I gotta go take 2 showers. Right? No one wants to work like that. No one wants to work like that at all. Right? I got some notes. There's a farm in Chatham, Ontario, that's southern Ontario, that's near the Detroit-Windsor border. No holidays off. Civic holidays, right? Labor days. Now, we don't advocate anybody, or I teach our brothers and sisters, stay away from that caravana, right? But in Canada, they promote it as a Jamaican festival, a Caribbean festival. These workers don't get to go to caravana, even though they shouldn't. you would assume Canada would let them go to a cultural event. Newsflash, when on this same farm, when people from Thailand were coming up, they got to go to their Thailand day, right? The Jamaicans didn't get a day. That's just one of the notes that I have. Let's get back into this article for a second. In another video, a man can be seen shouting and swearing at workers. That's bullshit. This is costing me effing fortune. Seemingly alleging the farmers clogged the drain by pouring grease into it. You could clog a drain by pouring grease into it? I've just never heard that. Listen, if you're black, who doesn't flush oil down the toilet? I think we all do it. If you don't, okay, that doesn't make sense. Excrements go into the toilet. How could grease cause it to clog if excrements go into the toilet?
It's actually probably better to flush it in the toilet than to put it down
into the sewer, runs into the water, or put it into the ground. It's like salting the earth, right? So he's assuming it's happening. No, the system is just bad, right? You got to think about these systems on these farmlands. They're shanty shacks that they set up for people to live on your farm. It's not a permanent structure, right? Half the time, even if it is a permanent structure that you know you're gonna have over a long period of time, workers coming and going, it's still built horribly.
It kind of feels like jail,
right? It's a concentration camp, right? It's like. Man, it's reminiscent of what it looks like under the Lakeshore Gardner Express when they had all those tents. Like if you go down to Bell Trinity Park before they evicted all the homeless people, they're evicting homeless people. I've never heard of this. You can get evicted when you don't even have a home. Like only in Canada. Where do they do this? Right? Good night. Listen.
Only in Canada, bro. They're having too much fun.
Right. And that's the thing about Canada too, right? For brothers and sisters who are born here, I've always said this, y'all be having too much fun. Y'all don't know what it's like to go through oppression, really, because the oppression just, you get high, you go party, you go mingle with the other nations, and everything's a joke. For some reason in Canada, everything's a joke. We're good slaves, right? Now, if y'all feel like, for y'all on the internet listening to this, y'all feel like we're not good slaves, don't challenge us. I.S.U.P.K is here. We accept all challenges. We do not duck any smoke, right? Because listen, we got the incense and the myrrh and the frankincense is burning. It's smoky. Slovakia. Let's keep going so we can get into this. You guys can clean the goddamn thing out. The man yells while standing in the middle of a bunkhouse of workers. The man who identifies the bunkhouse as his property can then be heard telling the employees that they cannot stop working in protest of the sewage spilling into their living quarters. What are we talking about? You cannot stop working because the feces is in your bunk. It smells like shit in here. You Slovakia for the language. Excuse me for the language. But you can't stop working because it smells like crap in here, and the crap is actually on the ground, and the toilets are overflowing, right? Like you're not allowed to stop working because of that. According to the labor laws in Canada, you can stop working for that, right? Now, what is that saying? Is that saying that the Benjamite Jamaican workers, do they have the same rights as a regular Canadian, right? And is this part of the reason why Canada makes it so hard for Jamaicans to come up? Back in the day, before they started letting Jamaicans come up, they used to say, it's too cold for Jamaicans to be up here. They're not going to know how to work, right? Let's go back. If you choose not to work today, this is what we heard in the video. If you choose not to work today, that will be a problem, right? Let's not forget the part where he says, you guys say no problem. Well, it's no problem. And then he says, if you choose not to work today, that will be a problem. He says, you don't pick and choose the day you want to work. Yes, you do. Call the day off. What do you mean? I do it all the time. Like, listen, I'm not coming in today. I'm not feeling well. Click on PlayStation. What are you talking about? Right? Unfortunately, because we're in our slavery, because we're oppressed, because we have turned our back on our Lord, right? It's like a good father, like any good parent. If you have children, you know, your child does something, you punish him, right? But the Lord's not going to forget about it. Let's see how much more of this article. Farm in question has not responded to repeated interview questions from CTV News. At another Southern Ontario farm, a Jamaican man died in 2022. Sure, you want to write that down? In another farm in 2022, a Jamaican man died, right?
2022.
2022.
Oh,
thank
recent.
You. Yeah, Thawada, thank you. That's recent. All right. While operating farm equipment, triggering calls for the Canadian government to provide more rights and safety for migrant workers. The seasonal agriculture program that has recruited, so they're recruiting Jamaicans? The same Jamaicans that they make it hard? You come to Jamaica, you've been living here for 20 years, breaking your back, and for some reason, you haven't been able to afford a house, even though you've been working 3 jobs for 40 years. And you want to bring up your cousin, right? He's a good student. He just lives in a neighborhood that's terrible because the Spanish and the British oppress these islands, right? And Canada is also oppressing these islands, right? You want to bring him up because he's bright. He's shining like a star. You want to get him out of there so he doesn't turn into a badman. You want to bring him up so he can get a good Canadian education. Right? And they said the seasonal agriculture worker program has recruited Jamaican farmers to Canada. Wait, so you can't bring your child up without owning a house. That was the whole point of what I was saying, right? And you could just go ask any Caribbean person what it's like to bring a child up or a cousin up from Canada. I know a sister who can't bring up her auntie because they said her auntie's too old. What's she going to do up here? What do you mean? I've worked here my whole life to bring the good life. I thought that's what it was, right? How comes the Europeans could come over here off ships and get the good lives? How comes the East Indians could come over here, right? They fly over here and they, listen, what they're doing is good for their people. They're doing the right thing for their people. They come over here, they pool their money together. They all live in one house. You got 10 people in one house. There might be 20 people in that house, but 10 people in the day, 10 people in the night because there's day and night shift, right? They pay for that house, buy a business, set people up, but Jamaicans can't do that. Jamaicans have to be recruited to work on farms. To Canada for 8-month stints since 1966. When was the school started?
1969.
I.S.U.P.K was started in 1969, and they've been doing this to Jamaicans since 1966.
Oh, since 1969?
We've been around since 1969. Oh, okay. Obviously not me, right? But our school has been around since 1969 in Harlem, New York. They've been doing this to Jamaicans since 1966, right? And has since expanded to Mexico and other Caribbean countries. Wait, why didn't they go to India? Why aren't they going to China to recruit? Why aren't they going to listen, the Ukrainians should be on the farm. We'd be giving them $8 billion. They should come on the farm and work that money back off, right? Listen, we gave you $8 billion, but now come to the farm. You're going to get paid because you can't just work for free, right? But come live in these horrible conditions and work it off. It's better than a building falling on your head, right?
That makes more sense, to be honest with you, because we're part of the fabric here.
Right. Yeah. It's a program requirement to provide workers with adequate, suitable, and affordable housing. They still have to pay for the housing. You guys like that? That's something that they're not talking about, right? They still have to pay for the housing. Yeah. No, you still have to pay back the person to listen. A lot of times they get piecework, right? If they're not getting hourly, it's how many baskets you fill up, right? So they still have to pay for this housing according to the federal government. Now that is such a horrible trade-off, right? You got to pay for the housing in horrible conditions. In Canada, this is in the Tenant Board Act, right? You could go check that the bylaws on tenancy or renting an apartment or just renting in period in Canada. If there are situations in your house that need to be addressed and your landlord's not addressing them, you could forego the rent, right, and fix that situation. And hand the landlord the receipt. Listen, I owe you $2,000, but it costs $3,000 to fix this. And I've been asking you for 3 months to fix it, and you haven't fixed it. So I fixed it. I'm not paying you right now, right? Take me to the board, right? And now you go to the board, and the board will tell them whatever. The board might rule in your favor, it might not. But these are the processes in Canada. These people, our brothers and sisters, are working in conditions where the toilet is overflowing into their living quarters and in their kitchen. Can you imagine trying to cook in a kitchen where there's feces and sewage water backing up into your kitchen? You're trying to sleep, and all you smell is last week's dinner.
That's bacteria all over the place.
Right. And now you're supposed to go pick the food for the rest of the country. Like, what is going on? Listen, my rib always tells me religiously, wash the vegetables. Be like, yeah, God, they're doing with a little bit of water. And she'll look at me strange and say, no, I mean, dip the vegetables and fruits in vinegar.
Yeah, vinegar.
Like, she religiously, she's a country girl from Jamaica, religiously puts, so like, I don't mean to say it like that, but listen, it's damn near programmed in her mind to, if there's vegetables in the house, dip them in a bowl of vinegar before we consume them, right? What else can we get? The government of Canada takes its responsibilities with respect to the protection of Jamaicans very seriously and takes all necessary measures to ensure the health and safety of the workers and to ensure that their rights are respected while in Canada. Good, nice. So now I want to go down a list of some more of what's going on, right? So during COVID, this is the same farm out in Chatham, Ontario, right? I got these notes from the family members of people who worked on the farms, because I know a brother who was working on these farms, right? During COVID, they couldn't go and see their family, right? Now listen, some brothers, listen, Jamaicans have the gift of gab. Listen, the raunchiest dancehall song you could think of is a love song in Jamaica. Babies galore. We having babies, everybody. We have a baby boom. Listen, there's no, and Jamaicans very bold with it. Don't dash with a belly. They tell it, listen, you're poor, you can't feed the belly. Do not have an abortion. We'll work it out, right? I said that to say this because Jamaican men will come up here. The Benjamites will come up here. You might, listen, sometimes you do get some time off the farm to go to groceries on Friday. You get half a day on a Friday to only go do groceries. You might see a sister in the grocery store. Now, the gift of gab got you that sister, and you and that sister did the husband and wife thing, and she have a baby for you, and you're flying back and forth, right? You're trying to work it out. You might marry the sister. Some of these brothers are marrying these sisters and staying, but they weren't allowed to see their family during COVID. Guess who was allowed to see their family during COVID? The rest of the workers on the farm, right? On this same farm in Chatham, Ontario, the brothers were contracting COVID. How were they contracting COVID if they were never leaving the farm, right? That means the other people, the Caucasians who were coming back to the farm, right, were bringing COVID to them. During COVID, they weren't allowed to go grocery shopping. They had to give their money to the Caucasian people so they could go grocery shopping for them. It was for a claim of safety, right? What else? There was a memo sent to Jamaicans that they had to be inside by 11 p.m. Now, can you imagine? You're a grown-ass man. You're working and breaking your back to pick these apples, strawberries, whatever we grow in Canada, right? You're breaking your back to do this, and they're treating you like a child. You got to come back to the farm by 11 p.m., Leroy. Like, you can't be outside to be with that sister. Like, no, you have to be back by 11 p.m. Now, what grown man has a curfew? Right? That sounds like a child. Show you one?
You said child. I was thinking of criminal. They want to put you on that 8 o'clock curfew.
Right. They're treating these brothers like criminals, like children.
Yeah.
You got something?
No, it's even borderline slaves.
Yeah, that's what it is. We listen in here. We don't even say we got worse. We just say we got slavery, because at the end of the day, like, you can't. There's certain things that you can't do. Like, you can't necessarily choose how much you get paid, right? You can't. You could work in a company for 30 years. That doesn't mean your son's getting a job. That doesn't mean you're going to be a supervisor, right? we make enough money in Canada to provide room and board and something to eat. You save up enough money, we might be able to buy something fancy every once in a while, right? But you see something on TV that you might want or might need, and you got to go to the books and say, 1 second, not this month, okay, pay that bill, money left, money right, money down, money up. Oh man, I don't have enough. I got to save for 9 more years before I can go get that new car, right? And that's how we live in Canada as Black men, as Hispanics and Native Americans, right? What else? Who wants to work 7 days a week? Anybody? Anybody in here want to work 7 days a week? On a farm?
No, to be honest.
Oh man, I thought we were working 7 days a week, Shaywan. Let's go get it right now. That's what's happening on these farms. Some of these workers are working 7 days a week, have a half day on Friday after they start 5 in the morning, and they're only allowed to go get groceries, right? There's all kinds of hours just rotating, sometimes 6 to 10 p.m. Good, nice, 6 to 10 p.m. Shaywan, how many hours is that, 6 to 10 p.m.? It's like, that's 14 hours a day. Yeah, that's 14 hours. 6 to 6 is 12. That's more than 14, actually.
16? No,
yeah, that's like 16.
6 is 12, so to 10, they're doing 16.
16-hour days. How many hours are in a day? 24. So that means there's 8 hours that you get to yourself. You get to sleep. Wake up and sleep. That's what you do. I'm surprised these brothers aren't sleeping while they're picking apples, right? Or whatever agriculture work they're doing, right? And listen, have you ever been to a Benjamite's house that owns a farm, owns land in Canada? You go into their backyard, it's a bunch of vegetables. They plant everything from any Caribbean person that comes up in Canada. You go to their house, it's vegetables, right? I know a brother, one of my brothers in the world, his dad has been growing farm since as long as I known this man. He's been growing farm. I met this man maybe 95. I said farm. He's been growing corn in his backyard, right? No matter what house he goes to, where it could be on a balcony, he's going to grow that corn, right? Let's go down. They do piecework, half days. Okay. So a lot of times, Thailand, the workers from Thailand, they get 2 or more year contracts, right? Jamaicans get 8 months. I'm doing a contrast difference, right? The people from Thailand, let me get rid of this for a second. I don't need this article anymore. Oh, I was off camera the whole time. Slovakia. All right. So the brothers from Jamaica, they get 8 months contracts and they can't bring up their families. They can't bring a woman to come work with them on the farm. I don't know too many sisters that want to work farms, but I'm quite sure there's a few sisters that if their husbands are going to Canada and they don't have no children, they might want to go up there with them, right? And go get it in on the farm and go work. Well, Jamaicans aren't allowed to bring their women with them. Like women, I guess they're trying to say women don't apply, right? But that doesn't seem to be the case. The people from Thailand can bring their families. And this is, okay, if you're asking me where I'm getting these notes, these are direct notes from someone. So, okay, what's going on with this camera? Yeah, it's a bad camera. These are direct notes from someone who was a worker on these farms, right? I seen this article today. I said, what am I going to teach for class today? Got my precepts down, made the phone call. Hey, I need some notes for my class. What was happening on the farms? He said, get your pen. I've been writing it down, right? On this same farm, and like many farms, there's no Jamaican supervisors, right? But the people from the other nations that come up, they get to be the supervisors. Again, Jamaicans don't get to celebrate any of their cultural days when they're on the farm. The other workers do. What else do we have? Oh, here's this one, right? There's a $70 fee every check that goes to the liaison, right? And this liaison is supposed to be like, it's like it's like a union rep, right? Yeah, depending on the union that you work for, it could be good and bad. See, some unions are good, man. It's especially with that seniority. If you get in and you're out of work, it's tough. You got to go find your own jobs. The unions don't rarely call, right? outside of what these brothers are going through, the one good thing about the union, if there is a good thing, is just the benefits. And maybe that vacation pay you see, because that vacation pay creeps up out of nowhere. You don't even notice it off your check, and then you get it back, right? But we all know the unions are taking your vacation pay and investing it, right? What else? So there's $70 to a liaison who doesn't answer calls, right? The brother said the liaison doesn't answer calls. Now, that would make sense why these brothers are protesting for a day, because they're calling the liaison and not answering. There's no answer. So what do? They got to figure it out. Okay, we got to send a message somehow. They decided in that bunker, the bunker house that they're living in, that smells like feces, because there's feces on the ground, because the toilets are filled to the brim with feces, that they're going to go on strike for a day so this oppressor can fix what they've probably been complaining about for months. Right? So the last thing is, the only time the liaison comes up is during official visits, right? And this is like, if you work on a union on a construction site, one day you might see a union rep just come around. That's his visit. You got to visit the site for the day. You don't even want to do that. He just visited the site for the day.
Or just being nosy. It's
Right.
just straight up.
Right. Yeah, it could be straight up being nosy. Right. But they're saying this liaison only comes around on official visits. Right. Now, so Shariwan, can you get me Ecclesiastes 10 and 7? Right. We're going to go into the Old Testament for a second. Right. So now, if this liaison doesn't answer the call, who do they complain to? Right? Who are they going to complain to? Because what do you do when you're trying to complain about a work condition and you're not even allowed to do that because the person you're supposed to complain to is not even answering, right? Now, what you're going to find out is the people that are working the farms, they're supposed to be the ones hiring people to work the farms. The people hiring people to work the farms are supposed to be working the farms, right? But because our ancestors, right, they've sinned against our Lord, so us as their children, we go through the punishment, right? Shariwan, can you get me that verse?
Come. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 10. Say not thou, what is the cause that the former days were better than these?
That's Ecclesiastes?
Okay.
1 second. Maybe it's Ecclesiastes, because I'm looking for servants on horse. I wrote it down wrong.
That's Ecclesiastes.
Oh, I said 7 verse 10. I meant to say 10 verse 7. So okay. That's my fault. Yeah, it happens.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10 and verse 7. I have seen servants upon horses.
Right, so there are people who are on a higher position, right? Now you got to think of the horse. You sit on a horse, you're pretty high up, right? What else is significant about a servant on a horse? Slavery. We'd be working those fields, and the slave master or the overseer, he'd be walking around or trotting around on that site on a horse while you're hunched over in some cotton, or depending on, listen, you could have been in the rice fields, right? In New Orleans, they had brothers and sisters grow rice, right? In Haiti, they had brothers and sisters cut sugarcane. Haiti was the crown jewel at one point because of all the money it was making for, what was it, the Spanish and the French, right? For all the money the island of Hispaniola was making for the Europeans, it was the crown jewel, meaning they made so much money. Haiti's not supposed to be broke, right? Haiti's sitting on an ocean of oil. It's not, and minerals out the wazoo. Like the minerals are just everywhere. Like you just walk down the street and kick over a mineral. What is this? Magnesium? Like, good night. Right? Keep reading, show you on.
And princes walking as servants upon the earth.
Right. While the slave master is watching the Haitian brothers cut sugarcane, Jamaican brothers pick bananas, American brothers pick cotton, we're still trying to figure out what they had us doing in Canada. We'll say cutting down that maple tree, or it could be picking apples, or just whatever the slavery was in Canada at the time, right? With Canada, okay, Canada will tell you they had slaves. They won't tell you what they were doing. Like when you scour the internet, it's hard to find out what slaves were doing in Canada.
That's such a good point. Thank you.
Canada, unless you dig up and find out what they've been doing,
nothing happened. Nothing happened. So they've never faced any consequences.
Well, the earth has given up its secrets, right? The earth is putting the oppressor to shame because we dug up, right, 10,000 bodies of native children. The natives have been crying for years upon years about the crimes that have been going, right? And Canada is getting punished right now. You see all those forest fires? You see what happened in Montreal? Montreal smelled like barbecue and no one was barbecuing. It was so bad, New York looked like the Orange Bowl, right? There's servants on horses, right? Sure, you want get us Jeremiah 2:14, because servants are on horses, meaning the servants are not supposed to be on those horses, right? The roles flip for some reason, and now we're the servants when we're supposed to be the rulership, right? I seen a video, right? And there's a video of an oppressor. He's walking down the street, some young Caucasian boy. He's walking down the street with a stick for the blind, right? He has the glasses on, the big black glasses. He's blind, walking down the street. And obviously he's not blind. It's a prank, right? Or it's a reaction video. And he walks up to a black man first and puts his arm around the black man like a blind person would do when they're getting assistance walking and directions. The black man at first, he like shrieks. So it's like, yo, what's going on? He looks, he noticed the person's blind, whatever. And he just keeps walking, right? Because not that that brother's a slave. He has compassion. There's a people that have compassion. No matter what happens to us, we will still find a way to be compassionate to our enemy, right? It happens all the time. Look at the Montgomery boat brawl. The Montgomery boat brawl happened, right? That dock brawl. You seen brothers and sisters who were just fighting a bunch of racist white people, hitting them over the head with these folding chairs. Good night. You seen them the next day take a picture with their coworkers, and they have Caucasian coworkers. There wasn't a, no, you can't be in this picture. Personally, me, I probably wouldn't have took the picture with the Caucasians because that's a moment of Black solidarity. And sometimes we need separation. That's key. That's what earlier you asked me what we need to do, separate, right? Now, that doesn't mean you can't do business. That doesn't mean you got to go to work. You got to feed yourself, right? You can still be courteous, but you don't have to give them your love, because what you need to do is give all your love, every ounce of your love to your own people, right? Because if we don't love us, who's going to love us? Sure, you want. Can you read Jeremiah 2:14?
Come. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 14. Is Israel a servant?
Is Israel a servant, right? Earlier we read there were servants on horses, right? And princes in the fields, right? I'm paraphrasing. I might have messed that up a little, but that's what we read earlier. Is Israel a servant? Are we supposed to be, okay, what you're supposed to do is, this is my brother. In our school, we go by rank, right? You start a young man, you get a Hebrew name, you become a trooper if you want to. You don't have to be an officer. You could just come and be in the school, just be a student if you want to. You don't have to be a teacher, right? You get rank. You pass an officer's test. You become a 50. You become a 500. You become 1,000, right? A brother might outrank you, but he's going to serve you because he's your brother. The brother might outrank you, and you're going to serve him because he serves you. And that's what we're supposed to do, right? So in that aspect, we serve each other, but we're still not servants to the heathen nations, right? We're supposed to be servants to our loved ones, to our brothers, our lineage, our kinsmen, our people, but not to people who hate us, right? That, like, how can you go and serve someone who hates you, right? Sure, you want to keep reading?
Is he a homeborn slave?
Are we homeborn slaves? Are we supposed to be slaves? Are we supposed to be just comfortable with this slavery? Were those brothers supposed to just be comfortable with the feces overflowing in the toilet? Right? Now, this is how you know our power is real, right? Our God is real. It's a living God. I don't know. I'm gonna definitely say it like this. There is no other power in the earth except for our power. The power that set an island surrounded by water on fire. How is Hawaii on fire? All those volcanoes in Hawaii is now on fire. Hawaii is surrounded by water. That should let you know that there's something higher than us in this life, right? You've seen for the last 5 years, you've seen northern Ontario on fire. You've seen British Columbia on fire, right? In British Columbia, the same place where they dug up all the native children, it's been on fire. It's on fire right now, right? The Lord's watching. He doesn't sleep. Don't think the Lord sleeps. He doesn't. We're going to get into that. Was that the end of the precept? Keep going.
Why is he spoiled?
Right. Why are we spoiled? Right. That's the question. Why are we going through this? Black people, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we're always going to ask this, like, why do we go through this? Right. Well, the answer simply is there's a bunch of different answers, but it's because we turned our back on our power. Right. That's why we're being ruined. Excuse me. That's why we're being ruined, because we turned our back on our power and we act like there is nothing higher than what we want to do, right? It's like in our mind, we act like there's no consequences ever. There's no one that's going to punish us for the things that we say, that we do. We act like we're... And okay, so, a lot of this is due to our oppressors and his Christianity, right? Where we're forced to love everybody. We're forced to celebrate our oppressors' culture. Every holiday in Canada, right, outside of maybe a couple of the few, I'm trying to see if there's a God for Family Day, right? Because Family Day just came out of nowhere. It's like we're all celebrating Family Day today, right? But every holiday that Caucasians celebrate has to do with a Greek or Roman god, right? Or in the case of Halloween, it goes back to the Druids, right? Which is the Japhites. I think it is. I'm gonna have to check, but I believe it's the Japhites. Don't quote me on that, but I'm quite sure the Samhain goes back to the Japhites, right? To the Druids. We're not a servant. We're not supposed to be a homeborn slave, right? But this is a curse. Shariwan, can you get me Deuteronomy 15? Deuteronomy 28 and 15. We'll start there, right? Because okay, even when you go into our history book, because that's okay, the Bible is not a religious book. If you were to ever read the Bible, and this is what I challenge everybody to do, if you hear my voice, right, and you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, for the app formerly known as Twitter, right? If you're watching this, what you need to do is go and read the Bible and read it like it's a novel. Take away all the Christianity out of it. Read it like like you've never heard of Christianity, and then come and tell us your opinion of the Bible. Is it a religion or is it a history book? Because when you read it like that, it's clear and plain as day to see that it's a history book of a specific people, right? And the only time it ever mentions another people is when the other people are going to war with the people in the Bible, right? Sure, you can read when you got it.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
If we won't do what?
Hearken.
Hearken means to listen. If you don't listen to the voice of God, keep going.
To observe, to do all his commandments.
To watch and do all his commandments, right? There was commandments Israelites were given, right? Keep going.
And his statutes.
Go.
Which I command thee this day.
Keep going.
That all these curses.
What is a curse? Is a curse a good thing or a bad thing, right? A curse is a punishment. Keep going.
Shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right. So we're going to go through curses, right? Can you read 16? Well, I gave you 15, right?
Okay.
Read 16.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
La, not that one. Jump to chapter, no, it's 28. What is it? Verse 1. Read verse 1, Baba Kasha. You can just read it straight through.
Verse 1. Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to do, thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Right. So I read it backwards. I had Officer show you want to read it backwards at first. When you go to 15, which is after 1, it says what's going to happen as a punishment if we don't do what the Lord says. When you read verse 1, it tells you what's going to happen when we do what the Lord says. He's going to set us above all nations. Right. Now, does that sound like Christianity? Right. When you listen to Christianity, it's all nations will be one. Right. We'll all be happy. We'll all be holding hands and making a ring around the earth, singing about daisies and whatnot, and forgetting that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have been grinded into mulch. Right. That's that stuff that you put around the tree after you plant it. You ever go downtown, you see that brown stuff they put around the tree. Right. That's mulch. That's what we've been grinded into. If y'all got any comments or questions, y'all could always feel free, right? This is an open class where you could you're allowed to speak, right? You got a question or you got something you want to say about what we're talking about, again, you could speak on it. Right. So that's what's happening to us.
I would have a question. So we are commended as the children of Israel, definitely, to cling to the commandments.
Yeah, it is.
Christian. One of the things I admire about your move, actually, is the fact that you hold on dear to that. And I think that's like,
yeah, because that's the only way that's the only way we're getting out of this oppression. Okay. My question to everybody would be, what is going to get us out of oppression, and what has gotten us out of oppression? Right? We're still being oppressed, so nothing has worked. Absolutely nothing. We've been marching hands up, don't shoot for decades. That hasn't worked. We've been asking for civil rights for decades. That hasn't worked. You see how far civil rights got us. Civil rights got us as far as Jamaicans are allowed to come to Canada to pick apples with feces coming out the toilet. That's civil rights for you. Show you one?
Yeah, honestly, I was just saying that we children of Israel been enslaved for damn near 5,000 years.
Right.
So those verses you were bringing up, like, is Israel a homeborn slave? When are we gonna get it right?
Right. Listen, we're getting it right now. It's that time to get it right now. Right. Tomorrow we could wake up and Russia could be shooting a rocket over Canada. I'm gonna give you some Canadian facts. There is no anti-missile system over the Canadian border for the North Pole. Over that, I won't even say it's a border, right? Over we'll call it the northern coast, right? Where all that water is, where all the polar bears are. There's no anti-missile system. Years ago, Canada was going to build a state-of-the-art jet. It cost too much. They didn't want to do it, right? There's a good documentary on it called The Arrow, right? If you want to find out about what Canada really believes in, just go watch The Arrow. They believe in saving money, right? Not too long ago, a balloon the size of a small school bus came over the Canadian border. They said it was Chinese. We didn't notice it until it went into America. What are we going to do if a rocket goes off today? So right now, you got to get right.
Sorry, we're a peacekeeping nation, apparently. Our army is a peacekeeping.
The Gadites, the Native Americans, don't believe that for a second. Not for 1 second. They understand that this is not a peacekeeping country. We're peacekeeping by giving $80 billion of gun money to Ukraine. What are you going to do with $80 billion? Buy straps? What do you mean? What else are you going to do? Ask the kids in the ghetto what they do with their money, right? They go buy guns. Yeah, because what else are you gonna do? The gun is the job. They can't get jobs, so they buy guns. The gun is the job. Shariwan, can you jump down? We went to Deuteronomy 28 for a reason. So we found out the good things, we found out the bad things if we keep the law. Let's find out some of these bad things. Shariwan, can you jump to 43? Right? You got it.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
So Jamaicans are going to go to Canada and work on farms for strangers, right? Because Canadians went to Jamaica, and just like every other nation that goes into Jamaica or into the Caribbean islands, they oppress it, right? I seen something horrible when I was in Jamaica. I seen a highway being built on a beach. The beach has now been sold in a neighborhood where there's nothing there. The neighborhood is damn near a gully. A gully is a very large creek, right? And it's shanty shacks, man. It's zinc houses, you know, the zinc roof. You're Caribbean, we all know what the zinc roof is. You build up some concrete, right? It's one level. You put a zinc roof and pray a hurricane does not come. You pray a hurricane does not come because you're going to have a moon roof. Like, listen, the sun is open season. So like you're on that roof. They're Benjamites, Rastafarians who live on these beaches, have been living on the beaches for 50 years. Priest Kayadwan, he broke this out, right? We have a priest in Jamaica. We got two priests, Abadawan and Kayadwan in Jamaica, right? They got the I.S.U.P.K Jamaica channel, but Kayadwan broke down Salaki, I might have even got that wrong. It might have been Abadawan, right? But one of these brothers broke down the squatting rights and what's supposed to happen after 50 years if you've lived on the land, right? You own the land. You've lived there for 50 years. You've tilled it for 50 years. You own the land, right? Come to find out, you don't own the land. These Rastas have been on this beach for years, making money by building the gazebos, the gazebos that you go chill in, right? They're the ones who take care of the plumbing there. They're the ones who built the showers. They're the ones who maintain the road, right? So you can come to this beach. They're the ones who are cooking food at the beach, right? Because they live on the beach. That's their community. Now they're being told they have to leave, right? So because what? Because China wants to build a highway, because other countries want to build a resort on this beach in a neighborhood where there's nothing but the beach. The beach is the highlight of the neighborhood. That should let you know a lot about life. If a beach is the highlight of your life, there's nothing going on over there except bad days. And when the sun's not shining, listen, you go to the beach, you might get a sister. You turn into a good day for a little bit until you remember that, listen, there's no food in the house right now. What am I going to do? Right? These strangers are going to get high above us. That's what's happening to these brothers in Jamaica. They're being forced to work on these farms for strangers, for a strange people, for a servant. They're serving the servant, right? While they're being told it's going to be a problem if you don't wake up today and go use that toilet that's overflowing and then come work for me. It's a problem. It's a problem if you don't go in that kitchen with feces on the ground and make your food and then come to work. It's going to be a problem, right? And these brothers got sent home 2 months early because they took a one-day strike while farmers in Canada protested what was happening to other farmers across the world because they have to pay a carbon tax. It's not like they have to live with feces on the ground, right? Outside of the cow manure, right? The cow manure that they willingly spread on the field, like there's no feces on the ground in their homes, right? But Canadian protesters were protesting a carbon tax halfway across the world. Jamaicans are not allowed to protest. Why now question, why aren't we allowed to protest, right? Because they know that it's not even why are we allowed to protest. Listen, they keep us in this position because if they ever dare let us out of this position, 40 years after slavery in America, we had Black Wall Streets, a bunch of Black Wall Streets. 40 years out of air, we had airports, doctors, lawyers, accountants, a whole Black economy in America. You go to the East Coast in Canada, you have Africville, where Americans who were escaping slavery, along with Canadians who are Black Canadians who were also in slavery, they were in Newfoundland, right? Newfoundland, Labrador, and they made an African town, not to say an African town, but they called it Africville, right? They made a Negro town. The town decided to dump all their garbage around the town, right? Meaning the Caucasian town used the outskirts of Africville as a dump, right? They know that if they leave us alone, we're better off. If they leave us alone, somehow we're going to find our way back to God.
There you go. Yes, indeed.
It just happens.
Beauty that would be.
Right. Listen to what do most majority of Caribbean people sing about, right? Especially the tribe of Benjamin, right? Haitians in the Bible are the Levites of the Bible. They were the priest. Hey, listen, I got a brother, Adiyar, right? And this man, you can't tell me he wasn't one of the priests back in the day. The way it's just like, the judgment is so cut and dry. Like, it's like, well, that makes sense. Even the conversation we were having this weekend after camp, like, Adiyar, man, good night. All right? The Jamaicans were also Israelites. You listen to any type of Jamaican music, it could be, all right, listen, a Jamaican will make a dancehall song. He'll go, Father God, please don't let me shot that boy. And he'll be like, wait. Somehow we singing about God. It don't matter what we're talking about. Somehow we're singing about God, right? They know if they leave us alone, we're finding God, right? We're going to find our power and come back to who we are as a people, right? Let's keep going. Sure, you want to get me Genesis 25 and 22? Sorry, Genesis 25 and 23, right? We're going to break down the two people because in that video clip we watched, there were two people. There were two biblical people in that video that we watched earlier. One was an Israelite, or several of them in the video were Israelites, and one was Esau. One was an Edomite, right? Now, people say, how do you know Caucasians are Edomites? Well, what did the Romans call themselves? The Romans called themselves Idumea, which is a Greek word for Edom, right? Show you one. Can you read it, please?
Genesis chapter 25 and verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb.
Show you one. Who's the her we're talking about? No, this is
Rebecca.
Yeah, this is Rebecca. This is Isaac's wife. Right? Two nations are in Rebecca's womb, right? There's two nations on that farm in that video that we watched. Show you one.
Okay. And two manner of people.
There was two different people. There's a people who want people to work in feces, and there's a people who say, no, we're not working in feces. There's a people who are extremely kind, right? Except to each other because of Christianity and slavery, right? When you're a Christian or you believe in any kind of Christian doctrine, you're going to be forced to hate what Christians hate, right? Christians hate Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? Let's not forget the Canadian government is Christian. The Catholic Church is Christian. They came together and put Native Americans in residential schools and beat kids to death if they wanted to pee in 2 a.m, right? If a Native American child was still trying to cling on to his culture and not lose his heritage, they put him in an electric chair.
Sorry, brother. You know, a lot of the Catholic churches, I think the bigger ones, that's where they were burying a lot of these natives.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Edifices. You won't be surprised that it's a lot of dead bodies.
I was talking to a brother. On our channel, I.S.U.P.K Toronto, I have a brother. There's an interview called 60 Scoop, right? There was a brother basically during this, before we started the interview, he was telling me about how somewhere near Bloor and Young, right? It could be Bloor. I think it's Young in College or Bloor and Young, somewhere around there. There was a site they were excavating, and they found bodies of dead natives, right? And not like it was a native burial ground. They said it was like a mass burial, right? So you're definitely right. Under these churches, you could probably use an X-ray machine like they used in Kamloops in British Columbia when we found the 10,000 native children, right? And see the bodies.
They can't turn that into a condo because they would have to escalate.
Oh, they probably are going to turn it to a condo. Yeah. They'll probably just know exactly the level those bodies are and just start the foundation, right? More than likely, they're going to turn it to a condo. They don't care. Why would they care? It's about the bottom dollar. It's about their God. Their God is money. Their love is hating us, right? It's like a double whammy. They kill us, bury us, and I say us because Black, Hispanic, Native. It's all the same. We have the same oppressor. We're Israelites. We're one family, right? And okay, what's even more interesting is it's easier to prove natives are Israelites than Black people. Because in the Western Hemisphere, they have so much artifacts that link them to being natives. Just go look at the native language. It looks like the ancient Paleo-Hebrew before the Assyrian, right? Where are we? Sure, you want to keep reading?
Come. And two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
Keep reading.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
Okay, so this sister, she was going through labor. She was going through her pregnancy. And she started going through, like, we could just say pregnancy pains or something. Something's going on in her stomach. Doesn't feel like a baby's kicking. She's like, this feels weird, right? So she's asking, she goes to the priest and asks, what's happening? And the priest is telling her there's two manner of people in your belly. You're having twins, but they're two different people. Shariwan?
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
And there's a people that's stronger than the other people. Listen, I'm going to say it like this. I'm going to take it away from sports and physical because we already know we're physically stronger, right? Mentally, Black, Hispanic, and Native American, we're the strongest people on the earth. No other nation can go through what we went through and still be going and still find a way to survive, right? Listen to the song Good Times by the theme song for Good Times. That just describes our oppression, right? They make it sound so nice when you listen to it. Like, I never understood it when I was used to watch it. My mom used to have the old DVDs. I'll be watching it, listening to it. As I grew up and came into the truth, I started listening to the lyrics more. Now I'm like, oh, that's oppression, right? We're the strongest people, right? Physically and mentally. Keep reading, Shay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And I would have to concur with what you said there. How about in other areas like, where sometimes it matters a lot to, politics or, I would say even religion. To a certain extent, religion, but politics, religion, science, because a lot of times we're missing in action. Because now, of course, a lot of our brothers, like you said, they're either shooting at each other or, I don't need to figure it through there, but, being very feminine.
Listen, brother, in here, we speak boldly. We speak like we go outside and we scream. We have screaming matches, but we're still giving the truth. Yeah, speak boldly. Don't feel you have to hide what you say. You speak boldly, right? Right. Listen, in a good way. Right. A lot of our brothers are feminine.
You're a group of judges, and that's what I was telling your brother, and I really appreciate that. But yeah. So in a case like that, is it maybe part of the conspiracy, or is it maybe that we lack in some areas that are important, for progress, so to say?
We definitely lack in areas that are progress. It's just, I would kind of say it like untapped potential. Like, we don't understand the potential that we have, right? Again, a lot of the reasons why we lack is because of Christianity and the Caucasians' oppression, right? Which makes us feel like, okay, there's something that I've always heard, right? You're only gonna make it out the house if you know how to rap, you got a jump shot, or you sell crack. Right? You got a jump shot, rap, or sell crack. Like, that's how you make it out. Again, a brother thinks that his only way out is to get a job, to get a job, and a job is the gun, right? Not a 9 to 5. The job is the gun. We don't. This is why when I go to camp, I always say Officer Abon's a scientist. I know a scientist. I know a brother who knows quantum physics. When has anybody ever said that in Canada, right?
Right.
So we have the skills. It's just to hone in on them. And a lot of times, our brothers and sisters, we don't know how to be parents because we never had parents in the house because our parents were working 10 jobs to pay 100 grand in rent, right? Sure you want?
It's like, if I could add, one of the ways we've always fallen short as a nation, like right from Adam and Eve, we always look to other nations like there's something good about their culture for us.
Right.
Anytime we take on the culture of another nation, we always fall short.
Right.
I just wanted to add that.
No, that is a heavy point.
And I ask, so because I introduced myself, I'm Jewish,
Yeah.
I'm converted to Jewish. So when I go to synagogue, I have another brother, of course, he's also from the islands.
Well, first, you said you're Haitian, right?
I'm Haitian, but converted.
So you are a Jew. You're not Jewish.
Yeah, I'm a Jew. Absolutely.
Right.
And every synagogue I go, if it's not the same brother, that I run into, or my girl, she's in my church now, there's no black, there's no so-called black, right? So I understand your movement and your points. That's why I said it's timely, and I'm hoping that you can really activate us indeed. You know what I mean? Help us get activated to the God of Israel.
Well, you're here now.
Right.
So something must be happening if you're here now. Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely there's definitely an awakening, if one might say, an awakening of a lost knowledge, right? That black people are the Jews of antiquity. Meaning when you read Songs of Solomon 1 and 5, it says I am black and comely, meaning black and beautiful. When you go to Acts 13 and 1, it says the priests like Barnabas and Simeon, right, were called Niger. You look up that word, that is a Latin word for black. If you say it like a southern Caucasian, they're gonna say nigga. You turn around and we heard that word so much and say, I'm a nigga. Listen, if someone calls me a nigga, like, okay, not even like that. Me and my brothers, we say my nigga. It's not offensive. Other black people, they might be in their feelings about it. It's like, listen, it's in the Bible. It proves who I am, right? If we could get back to this for a second. Sure you want?
Come on. And the elders shall serve the younger.
Right. The elders shall serve the younger. Esau's supposed to be serving Jacob, meaning Caucasians are supposed to be serving us. We're not supposed to be serving them. That's why the verse earlier said servants were on horses, right? So everything like this Bible is fluid. It all flows into each other, right? You use other precepts to go with other precepts, and it just proves everything. A lot of times people read the Bible or they read the Torah and Tanakh and they say there's contradictions in it. There's no contradictions in it, right? That's just what Christians or Muslims predominantly Muslims will say that to try and get us to come over to their side. And my conversations with Muslims go like this. What do you want me to do? Join you? No, I'm not joining you because your prophet slept with a 9-year-old. Go. That's how it goes. And they say, but Mary and Joseph will say, what are you saying? It's okay to do that? Go. And they say, I was like, that's why I can't join you. Right? Show you why. If you could keep reading.
Verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb.
Keep going.
Verse 25. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment.
Go.
And they called his name Esau.
Keep reading.
26. And after that came his brother.
Keep reading.
And his hand took hold on Esau's heel. And his name was called Jacob.
Right. So Esau and Jacob We're twins. They came out 2 different people. The Most High Power has the power to separate you and your brother, to be 2 different people that become enemies, and his children fight your children, and your children protest the living conditions on his children's farm, right? And that's what happens. This is letting us know what was going to happen in the future. Shariwan, can you go to Isaiah 45 and 14, Baba Kasha? And listen, brother, it's interesting. Listen, I come from Lawrence Heights. Lawrence Heights is a circle. If you look at it on the map, it's a circle. That's jungle, right? I say Lawrence Heights just because
I know I go way back.
But listen, I'm born and raised in jungle, man. That's they call us jungle babies, but we're here now, and some of us are surviving. I'm trying to get the rest of my brothers, right? I'm trying to get the rest of my brothers to go to war with me, right? Instead of me warring with my brothers like we did since the early 90s. Okay, so in Lawrence Heights or jungle, right? It's a circle. Around it is homes that aren't cookie cutter homes that people own. On the around those homes are all Jewish owned homes, right? We called it Juville. To walk to the public library, we had to go through those neighborhoods, and it felt like day and night. One is cookie cutter, project homes. The other is, what is that? He has a basketball in his backyard, and we've been trying to get that. We're playing basketball on peach baskets. We used to go take those basketball nets in the middle of the night, right? Because it was day and night. Even before then, we used to walk through those neighborhoods, and the Jewish children would look at us like we were the scum. And I never understood why these Jewish children were looking at me like I was beneath them. I was just going to the library. I was just walking through and riding my bike or skateboarding or rollerblading. I used to rollerblade everywhere, right? So, okay, I tried to rollerblade the other day. Like, I'm done. Pedal bikes and that's it, right? But I used to rollerblade to Ledbury Pool, which is on the other side of Juville. You got to go through Juville, and these kids would just look at us and be like, yo, what is going on? And I never understood it. And then I just started to understand there's a difference between white and black. And I just chalked it up as that. And it wasn't until recently, and I came into this school and I found out, we're the Jews of the Bible. Christ is black. Solomon was black. David was black. Everybody in the Bible was black. Moses put his black hand into his bosom and took it out, and he became out white as snow. Then he put it back in, and it came back out, and it was like his other flesh. What was his other flesh? Right? Because
but they understand that. The Jews understand that.
I've never really heard them say that would be a surprise to me.
So you're saying Jewish people?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we know that Jewish people know their converts, so that wouldn't be too surprising. I just never heard that, right? But them Jewish people, they know their converts. That ish is a suffix, means to be like.
There's no other way. I mean, I've had fellas tell me it's a touch-up point because his background is from Poland way back, although he has roots as Jew, Jewish, maybe not, right? But he knows that it stems from Poland.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting
at the time. So they, so it's part of the sorry to linger on it, but it's part of the process that you were saying. So the other ones they appropriate.
Yeah.
So now my only thing, and this is where me and my brothers, because we're the same, and then this is where now it creates a divergence, I guess I could say, because I understand it to be that it's an appropriation. But an appropriation, of course, that would be necessary in order to safeguard, in certain aspects of the body, because we wouldn't have been able to do it in our conditional now, we'll revive it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We take it on charge. But this is the conclude to say that, so it is appropriation that happened thousands of years ago, but it's like become part of it. So it's very hard to disassociate.
Well, I would have to say it like this: if they know that Moses was black, right? And Kyrie Irving just tweeted a link to a video. Why did Kyrie Irving get suspended? Why did Kanye have 70 mil of his account frozen?
Yes, and
if they know, they weren't supposed to freeze his account. Kyrie Irving should have never been suspended. He should have never had to do that whole apology thing, right?
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest. The observer, those guys, those Hollywood type guys and whatever, they really don't represent the guys that are really strictly about Torah, like Torah. So if Torah says it is, it's good. So that's the unfortunate thing. That's why I had to speak on the matter when Ye had to, because I had to, because that's the thing. It creates confusion because we are the children of Israel, and we're the lost tribe. We're the ones that are supposed to be gathered from all, because the black Jew has not been counted yet. And I've told other Jews, like other European Jews, that there will be no Messiah until the black Jews count.
Right. Well,
everybody else is counted.
We don't believe we don't teach that there won't be no Messiah. We believe in Christ. We believe in the whole Bible, right? A reason why so-called Jewish people don't believe or don't like the latter half of the Bible is because it talks about a black king that's going to come and set the earth in order. Right?
You need to register for a library card or get your current library card to borrow.
Bear with us one moment. All right, yeah. So in the Bible, it talks about we're going to get to these verses. I'm going to give you a couple verses in a second, but it talks about a black king named YAHANNA, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. The image that they had is an old Caucasian man named Caesar Borgia from the Borgia family, right? They know that. They know that YAHANNA is black, so they're going to disassociate it and say a Messiah never came, or we're still waiting. We're waiting for him to come back and set in order. We're looking at all the signs right now, all the plagues going on. You had COVID that mutated like 30 times, and no one knew how to stop it. Every time they thought they had a way to stop it, it just said, nah, I'm back, right? Like, I'm fresh out the gym. I'm COVID X19, right? Shortly after that, you had a gay party or a LGBTQ party in the Caribbean that went to Spain. And then the earth seen monkeypox. It's like, wait. It's not over. Listen, while everything's going on, I just sit back with my popcorn. I get some strong liquor, and I sit back and eat and drink. I call Shaywan and call Barak. Barak, you see what's going on, Shaywan? You see what's going on? That's about it. But I'm going to get back into these precepts real quick. Shaywan, can you get me Isaiah 45 and 14? Right? You can read it.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 14. Thus saith the Lord, the labor of Egypt and merchandise of Ethiopia and of the Sabaeans, men of stature, shall come over unto thee, and they shall be thine. They shall come after thee. In chains they shall come over.
Right. So what this is talking about is earlier you asked what we have to do. And again, we don't have to do nothing except love each other and follow God. And the Lord is going to set everything in order. The book of Revelation talks about 200 million angels, 200 plus million angels coming to defend us, right? Led by a black man named Christ, right? That is going to, you see in the earth, they keep talking about flying saucers. Right? If you read the Bible, it describes flying saucers in the Bible, a roll within a roll, right? A flying scroll, right? Those look like every time we watch a sci-fi movie, like what they depict the flying saucers. Okay, one thing about the world, everything, especially in these movies that we see, they take from the Bible, right? Aliens coming to attack the earth for no reason, that's from the Bible, right? Our oppressors are worried about a space force. They need money for a space force. A space force for what? You guys fight wars on earth. Who are you going to be fighting in space? Why would you need a space force to fight? Who in space? Who's coming from outer space? Not too long ago, and I think this guy is blowing smoke. Somebody went in front of Congress and said there's aliens and crafts that they have in one of these bases, right? Listen, the chariots or We call them IFOs because we've identified them. They're the Lord's chariots. You can't stop it. There's videos that sometimes they show a video where you see something fly like this and then it does this, and they're saying it's moving so fast that no human can control that. So what's controlling it? It has to be something that's not human, right? Our oppressors are going to come to us in chains because the Most High is going to set it right for everything they've done to us. Show you one. Give me 60 and 1. Where you have for before you continue? Yeah, give me 60 and 1. What were you gonna say?
No, I agree. In feathers,
yeah. Give me 60 and 1 because the Lord. Okay, the Lord is bringing these oppressors to us in chains because the Lord is gonna have mercy on us. Who else needs mercy in the earth? Who else is going through it? The heathens are fighting each other, right? The heathens, Russia and Ukraine. That's brother and sister. That's cousins. They're fighting each other, right? That's in-house violence. What's happening to us is an act of war. The oppressors be touching the apple of God's eye, meaning God's chosen people. The oppressors have been touching. They were put here for a beaten stick for us for when we disobey, but they've taken it too far. Show you one.
So if I could add, that white Jewish man over in Israel, he owns a diamond district. He has his own land, military. They have their own structure. They don't need help. I'm saying that whole nation of people.
Yes. They got an iron curtain.
They're not in the condition.
No, that's and that's what I find interesting. That's actually what I find interesting, because we are to inherit all of that. Because the land, because I don't know what your position is on the land as well. Will we return to the land?
We're going to return to the land.
The temple.
We're going to return to the land.
Because the last thing we want to do is to have everyone, some other do it. I'm just saying. Right? So.
Oh no, I want other people to build that for me. I build their kingdom.
There you go.
Exactly. I agree. I wake up to build Canada. Someone needs to build my kingdom for me now, right? Or my king's kingdom. But we're going to return to the land after this land is turned to a lake of fire. This land is going to be blown up in thermonuclear war. They're edging right now. There's a clip of Tucker Carlson saying Ukraine is losing the war. Someone's finally saying the right thing because we know that Ukraine is losing the war, right? That's why they're giving 80 billion. You don't give 80 billion to a man that's winning a fight, right? Who else is going to fight? Russia, America. After they fight, what are they going to do? They're going to shoot nukes at each other because you don't build a gun not to use it. What's the point of that? Why would I build a sword not to swing it, right? Why would I build a shield not to use it to block, right? So they build nukes. They're going to go off. Why? Because nukes have gone off already, right? Hiroshima and Nagasaki, World War II, right? Show you one. Can you read 60 and 1?
Book of Isaiah, chapter 60 and verse 1. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. Verse 2. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth.
Wait. Did I say 60 and 1? I want it's 60, but I want the Lord will have mercy on Jacob. Hold up 1 second. Isaiah 14 and 1, Salakia.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob.
Right. The Lord's going to have mercy on Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans because we need mercy. Right. Again, we are at the bottom. Every bad stat that you think of is us. Right. You don't hear stories of over 20,000 missing Caucasian women in Canada. You don't hear that at all. Even if there is a missing Caucasian woman, everyone stops and looks around for this woman. Like there's Native sisters that are missing right now and no one knows where they are. There's Black women missing right now, children included, that are missing right now and no one knows where they are. You rarely see an Amber Alert. They're not plastered over the TV. There was some Caucasian woman that went missing in America not too long ago, and everyone stopped to look for her. And when a sister went missing, it didn't happen, right? Keep reading.
And will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land.
Right. The Most High is going to choose us and set us in our own land, meaning we're going to get back the Middle East, because that little stitch of land that they say is Israel is not Israel. It's just the backyard, right? It's a piece of Israel, but it's not the whole land, because there was 12 tribes, right? That means 12 tribes spread out. You can't have 12 tribes of people all in that little piece of land. And this is how you could test the, okay, you could damn near test the spirit of Jewish people with just this verse alone, because how could you fit all 12 tribes into what they call Israel right now? If you think about all the people that came out, right?
I'm answering, to be honest with you, from their perspective. I'm not even gonna lie, but we do understand that it's not the case that it is what you said. Can't be.
Wait, you said we?
Well, because
so when you say we, are you saying like we as in Jewish people?
Okay, here's my thing. I make a distinction, to be honest with you, between the Jew and the so-called Caucasian or white or oppressor or conquistador, all of that. I really actually do make a distinction.
Right.
Like I said, at some point, some Caucasian in the European area, you know, appropriated that. It was prophesied. It was prophesied because someone had to maintain it, you know. I mean, in terms of because there's a wealth of information, obviously, in all the stuff that was gathered, right? And a lot of this stuff, of course, ends up in Germany, and especially Kabbalistic books, and they say, oh, this made its way to us by the way of, the Orient or something like that. I mean, but at some point they appropriate a lot of knowledge. So I think it's all necessary, and it's now that we need access to, and we need to be in it, right? So that's what I mean by we, and that's why it's associated, because they appropriated it, and that becomes a blessing automatically, and that also disassociates, and that's why they had to go through some fire. Of course, we've been through it all.
You're right.
Of course, we've been through it all: fire, flood, everything. Right? I'm just saying. That's why, you know what I mean? And when you look at it, when you go inside and you dwell amongst other Jews that are European, for example, they don't see themselves, even if they're from Russia, they don't see themselves as Russian. Even if they are from Ukraine, they're Jew, you know, so they themselves are disassociating from what would seemingly be their source, right?
That's interesting, because I heard a conversation, like I was listening to a conversation on an app, like an app called Clubhouse, where Jewish people, if you ask them, they don't really consider themselves white, even though they are, right? Right, and that's the best way to say it. They've adopted a Negro religion, right? Even though it's not a religion, it's our history book. It was our way of life, our culture. But they've taken it and run with it, like Eminem and rap. Now Eminem is the go-to rap,
right? And we automatically.
And if you say Eminem's not good, yeah,
we automatically.
We give him a blind.
You're right at some point.
Yeah, so even though it's not true, right? And whenever people say Eminem is the GOAT, I say, so when he said he was going to rape his mom grape his mom, abuse his mom, was that the GOAT conversation? Was that GOAT bars, right? But again, the Most High, he's going to have mercy on Jacob, right? And the heathens are going to build up our walls, right? So even them Jewish people in Israel, they converted, but they're not safe, right? They could take something and say, yes, we're this people, but they're not safe, right? I've read some of that Talmud, and listen, there's certain things that's going on in there. It's kind of crazy. Like in New York, it came out that the rabbis were giving herpes to the babies because they're giving the bris, the moy, what was it called?
Oh,
I think it's moil.
Right.
Oh, the moil?
Yeah, where they are circumcising the baby, putting oil in their mouth, and then putting their mouth on the penis of the baby.
Like a little bit of something
And that is nowhere in the scripture, right?
Yeah.
Those people who converted to what we hold sacred, they're not safe. They're going to have to build up the New Jerusalem, right? They're going to have to build up Yahushai's kingdom, right? And that's what Shariwan's reading. But we're almost out of time, so I want to get through some more of these precepts. Shariwan, keep reading.
And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Verse 2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids.
Right. So we're going to possess our oppressors, right? The heathen nations for servants and handmaids, because we've been their servants and handmaids. Look at Trinidad, right? Trinidad is overrun by East Indians. If you hear the horror stories that come out of there, right? It's listen, them Rastas get beat in their head. Now, black people shouldn't be Rastas because that's not our culture. That's East Indian culture. They try to be Rastas to appease the East Indians. The East Indians hate them because East Indians hate black people. They hate dark-skinned East Indians, right? They turn around and beat them in the head with their batons to a point where the Rasta has to cut his dread off to get stitches, right? Those heathens are going to be our servants and build our kingdoms because we've always built their kingdoms. Shariwan, go to Revelations 13 and 9, right? This is probably one of the last precepts. Maybe I'll bring a couple more that we're going to go into.
May I have your attention, please? It is now 8:15. The library will... Thank you.
All right, so Shariwan, read Revelations 13 and 9, right? Because it's just going to go into more of what's going to happen to these oppressors for the things that they do. Like them brothers in Jamaica right now, they're going through a harsh slavery. Them brothers in Jamaica right now are trying to escape that slavery and that oppression, that they're coming to Canada thinking it's going to be better, right? And as they get here, they understand that it's not going to be better, right? To an extent, they're damn near better off in Jamaica, right?
But you guys had such an impact, though, I find, on especially the Anglophone portions of Canada, though, since many, many years. So I find that ridiculous.
Well, Canada wants to use black people, just like any oppressor wants to use black people, right? You think about a city like Toronto. What's the dominant culture in Toronto?
It's Jamaican.
The Jamaican culture. How does Drake rap? Drake is technically a Judite, right?
Even us Haitians, we come to Toronto, yo, we speak Jamaican. Man.
Listen, I didn't even know what I've had Haitian friends my whole life and didn't even know they're Haitian because he had Jamaican. So I just, like, right? Drake acts like a Jamaican. His dad's an American Negro who we would say is a tribe of Judah, right? He doesn't act like that. He acts like a Jamaican. Jamaica is the dominant culture in Toronto. The whole influence wastes you, right? What else do they say? Like, oh man, if I was to go through the whole list of words, I've heard Muslims say, "Yo, what's going on?" And I'm looking at like, "Yo, you're from Afghanistan, right? What do you mean what's going on? Why are you asking me what's going on?" Like, right? What's going on is not nothing bad. It's just what's up, what's going on. Well, because we're Jamaican, we say what's going on, right? Shariwan?
We were out Saturday night.
Yeah.
And that Caucasian girl, we were walking by. She's like, "Hey, why?"
Oh yeah, she said walk on to us. I forgot about that.
The Caucasians taking on Jamaican culture.
Yeah. So everyone takes on our culture. The Jamaicans aren't supposed to be like, essentially you would think Canada would treat them better because all of what's happened. Here's another caveat. West Eglinton, they call Little Jamaica, is a horrible place because of how the Canadian government deals with Jamaicans.
Oh, well.
Chinatown has heritage. Greektown has heritage. Little Italy has heritage. Most of the big places that they say is cultural area in Toronto has heritage. Eglinton and Oakwood does not get heritage, even though it's Little Jamaica. There's not even a sign that says Little Jamaica.
That's my hood, to be honest with you. I've watched them pull out banks. So for sure. And replace them with check cash and whatever.
Yeah.
To the point now that area, no.
Yeah.
It was the last one I watched it.
What happened to the parking lot? The parking lot's a condo. All right? You'll never understand what you got till they put up a parking lot, right? And now look, it's a condo. Now, this is a question I have to ask, right? And this is not a knock on, well, I'm knocking all you brothers, man. How y'all still selling drugs on Eglinton? Now, obviously, I'm not talking to you, right?
Is the condo built already?
The condo's built. It's the parking lot next to the pizza.
Yeah.
Remember, it was a parking lot.
Yes.
We go park there and go get our hair cut, right? Yeah. Now it's a condo. Now, I got a question for the brothers from West Eglinton. How are you selling drugs at Marley and Eglinton and Oakwood and Eglinton when 13 Division is still there?
They can't even do that. There's a lot of brothers, because I'll be honest, I haven't been to the body yet, so that's why.
No, but they're selling drugs.
But they still do.
You can go right now. They're selling drugs.
The guys that were moving the marijuana, right?
Yeah.
I had to approach a few of them. I'm sorry to say there. I'm like, since they're cracking down and then they're making this legal, consider business, right? Things like that. And none of these guys were trying to do that. And eventually, so the police, they raided them, got them out there, and then they brought their own shop.
Well, marijuana is not a good business because it's a way to worship an East Indian god, right? After that, yeah, we're wrapping up. After that, it's a way to worship an East Indian god. And just like you said, there were brothers selling weed. Now they're not selling weed. Now there's weed shops that the government owns. But there are still brothers, unfortunately, trapping on Eglinton next to a police station. How, why, what is going on? What we're realizing is maybe, now I might be putting on a tinfoil hat, but I don't know. Maybe, we've seen it in movies, maybe the police are selling the drugs. Maybe the police are watching these brothers sell drugs because it's their operation, right? Shariwan, let me get that last precept before we wrap up.
This book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear.
Listen, you got ears, hear this.
Verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity.
He that leadeth into captivity, meaning there's a person who brought someone into captivity, slavery, right? How did black people get into Canada, into the Caribbean islands, right? How did the so-called Haitians become to do slavery on that island, right? There was already Taino Indians throughout the Caribbean islands because over here there was the lost tribes, the Northern Kingdom, as you would say. Shariwan?
Shall go into captivity.
So a person who leads us into captivity is going to go into captivity. Just like we read in Isaiah 14, there's going to be a people that go into captivity to build up our kingdom. Shariwan?
He that killeth with the sword.
He that killeth with the sword.
Must be killed with the sword.
Must be killed with the sword, right? Meaning, listen, there's always a price to pay for your crimes, right? Keep reading, Shariwan.
Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
Here's the patience and the faith of the saints, right? And that's what's going to happen to our oppressor for touching the apple of his eye. Once again, I'm Priest and Officer 1000 Zabaja. We were at the... No, we're going to get out of here right now. We're at the North Central Library, 5120 Yonge Street, right? This is a law class. Again, Canada is an oppressive place. Jamaicans are getting sent back to Jamaica because they're protesting, while farmers protest about farmers on the other side of the world, right? We'll be back again next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Location will be announced. Check our social media. Shalom.